Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency, with your host, Terry Harrington.
Welcome to Dateline Schools. We've heard plenty recently about 21st century skills that our students need to have. What is it we're talking about, and then how do we train the teachers to have the skill set to teach our students? Well, there's been a very unique program developed by RESA's staff to help train our teachers on 21st century skills. The program is called TTDN. We will be joined by Kit Hard, one of the developers of the TTDN program, as well as Jill Parrott, one of the participating teachers, so we can learn what TTDN is all about. But before we meet our guests, let's tune in to this edition of Education Update.
Thank you, Terry. Woodland School students and teachers have had a case of spring fever all month, but it has nothing to do with the weather. Students have been busy preparing for the school's traditional spring music program, which takes place March 24th at the Port Huron High School Performing Arts Center. The event is held every 2 years. Music teacher Shelley Scahill has been helping students rehearse for several weeks. Scahill said the show will include about 15 acts, with some students performing solo and others as part of a group. The Woodland Spring Music Program is open to the public. It's officially spring, a great time to check out the Pine River Nature Center and get a peek at its recent makeover. The highlight is a mural painted on 2 walls of the center by a local artist. The mural shows students what they might expect to see on the center's hiking trails, including wildlife such as deer, herons, fox, coyotes, and turkeys. Further renovations at the Nature Center include newly painted walls and a pole in the basement fashioned to resemble a tree. The Nature Center is adjacent to the Goodalls County Park in Wales Township. It is owned and operated by the St. Clair County RESA. More information about spring and summer programs is available on the RESA website. Mega Conference Junior, the world's first all-virtual K-12 video conferencing event, was held on February 24th. The event gave students and educators around the county the chance to communicate with fellow students and teachers around the planet. Former Port Huron technology teacher Dawn Light and 5 second graders at Cleveland Elementary School served as interactive participants. The students joined 6 other schools in performing the Star-Spangled Banner in sign language. More than 100 sites worldwide participated, giving students everywhere a chance to explain their cultures and histories. A live web stream on the event was made available to all local schools. The St. Clair County Association of School Boards is celebrating 21 years of giving toward the education of prospective teachers. The association's annual awards presentation is May 1st at the St. Clair County Community College Fine Arts Theater. 9 local high school seniors who plan to pursue a career in education will be presented with $700 scholarships toward their college education. Students are selected for the scholarships by committees in their schools. Teachers that students identified as influencing them to pursue education are also honored, as well as outstanding school board members. And finally, it's never too early to think about the end of the school year. For those of you who want to get a jump on your summer vacation plans, the final day for students in most districts this year is June 16th. That's it for this edition of Education Update. I'm Ann Frederick. Terry Harrington and Dateline Schools returns in a moment.
Welcome to St. Clair County, a great place to live, work, and visit. Our firefighters, law enforcement officers, and paramedics are highly trained and pride themselves in responding to assist you in a matter of minutes. However, in a large-scale event, emergency responders may not be able to assist everyone in the first few minutes, hours, or even days. Would you be ready if your power was out for several days? A storm confined you to your home for an extended period of time, if authorities requested you evacuate immediately. The Be Ready for 72 Hours program allows you to take charge before an emergency to assure your family and neighbors remain safe. Simple steps like having a plan and emergency supply kit can make the difference between being in harm's way or being safe and secure. Don't wait until it's too late to prepare. Be ready now, St. Clair County.
Hi, my name is Joe Staley. I'm a graduate of Central Michigan University and currently an offensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers. Also, I love reading. My mother is a school librarian here in Michigan, and research indicates that students in schools with certified school librarians have higher test scores. When I attended college, I understood the importance of knowing how to research using the internet as well as the library, and school librarians taught me that. Does your student's school have a certified school librarian? If not, ask why.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. In this edition of the program, we're learning about a unique training program for teachers on technology. It's called TTDN for short. And to tell us all about it, my special guest is Kit Hart. And Kit is a teacher consultant for technology at the Academic Transitional Academy in Port Huron Township, and also one of the organizers of the TTDN program. Kit, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So I guess the best place to start is, what does TTDN stand for?
It stands for Tools for Teaching Digital Natives, and it was a grant that was started to help get some technology integration into the schools around the district.
What do you mean by digital natives?
Well, the students that are coming into the classroom today don't know a time when there wasn't a computer in the house or a cell phone or even just a gaming system, a portable gaming system, an Xbox. And so all of this technology that they're sort of bringing with them, it's like the water for fish. They don't even know that it wasn't there when we were younger.
Now, not to put you on the spot, but you seem to me you're young enough to be part of that early adapters of the digital native crowd, right?
Sure. I mean, but I remember getting something like the Atari system or a TRS-80 computer. Those are the first kinds that were coming out in the homes. But our phone was still a dial phone when I was growing up.
That's great. How many teachers are participating in the program, and how were they selected to participate?
We have around 35 teachers that are participating from around the county, and the teachers came from all of the different high schools, Algonac, Marysville, Port Huron, etc. And I believe 2 teachers from each district were selected to come.
Okay. So when did this whole TTDN training program start?
We started back in June, and we did a 3-day sort of intensive training, and then we've had follow-up sessions since then. In August, we do a symposium, the 21st Century Learning Symposium, and that was one of our first meeting sessions after that initial training, and then we do online and face-to-face sessions.
So how many sessions are the teachers committed to participate in throughout the course of the school year?
We have 6 face-to-face sessions and 6 online sessions. The online sessions are mandatory, and the idea was that because they're online and you can do it from virtually anywhere. We've even had a teacher who logged in from McDonald's in order to use the free Wi-Fi, that was more accessible, so that the attendance for those sessions was a little easier.
So tell us about those face-to-face. For most of us, you know, we have that familiar model that you've got the consultant or the trainer up front, and we're in the classroom just like you do in a typical school classroom today. So tell us about those.
The online sessions have been really a learning experience for myself as well. I've facilitated most of those sessions, and you are getting onto the computer, and others are joining into this session, and I usually have a camera turned on for me, video and audio, that the participants can see me, and then we can do anything from just having a chat session that's running in the side where people can chat is typing. But also I can enable the microphone on the computer for the participants and they can talk, and we can even enable the video if we want to, or screen sharing of the computer where we can see what's happening on their screen.
It's really come a long way, is that it?
Yeah.
Great. What are the goals for TTDN, and how do you see this whole programming benefiting our students?
I think some of the main goals are to help integrate and train on the use of technology that can be implemented in a classroom, so that we can create what are called blended learning environments, as opposed to strictly online technology use or just face-to-face, a teacher lecturing. A blended learning environment is an extension of the classroom where the resources, the worksheets, the assignments, and also where the students can respond and submit. All of those things have an online place as well. If you have a Dropbox for an assignment in the classroom, there's also a Dropbox online. If there's a place to communicate in the classroom, there's a space to communicate online. And so that blended environment makes the classroom available 24/7, 365.
Are you able to model that with the teachers as you've been training with the TTDN?
Yeah, we use a platform called Moodle, which is an online website that we can upload resources to, where we can have links to websites and training materials, and even post recordings of the online sessions that we have. And so all of those resources are available, so a teacher can go to that at any point and see some of those resources or even communicate with the other participants.
You found the teachers have been able to adapt to this pretty good?
Oh,
absolutely. Way of learning
absolutely.
And teaching
This group of teachers, I mean, they are really very open to learning new things, trying new things, and also probably the most important part has just been the sharing. Hearing how each teacher has taken the training and sort of modified it and made it their own and then taught it to others within the group. That's my favorite part, is when I hear and get to listen to what everybody's doing with the training.
And that's really not much different what you're already doing at ATA, is it?
Sure.
With those teachers.
Sure. I mean, we get to try things out and see how it plays out in the classroom and see how the students use some of these new technologies, what things are they enjoying using, what's really engaging, and then try to modify that, but always with this idea that teaching is still fundamentally the same. It's, you know, technology is just facilitating that, especially that part where when a student goes home, there's more resources and help for them.
I know you mentioned, you know, about the digital natives. I mean, it's kind of scary to think most kids have more technology in their bedroom than we have in the classrooms.
True. And, you know, it's still important, though, that we train them in the use of that technology for the things that they're going to need to do when they go into the professional fields and become adults. I mean, the use of technology for playing a video game is different than the use of technology for researching something that's important that needs to be learned.
Now, you mentioned you're using Moodle. Any other software-based things that you're teaching the teachers?
Well, we're doing quite a bit with video. We're using screencasting software from called Camtasia. That's a company based out of Lansing, TechSmith, and that allows teachers to create video tutorials that are capturing what's happening on the screen. It could be a PowerPoint or a math tutorial that's teaching the lesson, capturing those lessons, and then also using social media tools. So kind of like Facebook, but we can use Twitter as professionals to communicate with other teachers, and then there's a online version for students called Edmodo that sort of mimics those.
Now, I know one thing that in putting this together, they wanted to get these professional learning groups together. How's that part working and fitting in with all of this?
Well, it's kind of neat. One thing that's happened recently, there's a teacher who has organized what's called, they call them meetups, or if it's Twitter, it's a tweet up, and then with Edmodo, they're having an Edmodo meetup, and so it's a chance for groups of educators who are using some of these tools to get together informally and sort of talk about what they're doing. But then also we use what's called a hashtag in Twitter, and that is a way for members of our group to post online using the Twitter microblogging service to sort of communicate with the group. If they put that hashtag TTDN, then other members of the group will see that post, so we can share links and resources.
Now, is that someone out in the public, if they wanted to see what our teachers are doing and communicating through Twitter, they could put that TTDN in their hash and communicate with the group? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the great thing about Twitter is that it's a very open platform, and so it's a great place for sharing professional ideas and links, and anyone could go onto Twitter and put in the hashtag TTDN, and they'd be able to follow some of those links, see some of the resources that we've been compiling as a group.
Now, I know another part of the grant and kind of an incentive for the teachers to get involved is there are several pieces of technology, equipment that they were able to receive by participating. What kind of things did they get?
Each of the teachers received a laptop that they were able to use, a flip camera, which is just kind of a handheld video camera that can also take still pictures. We also got an iPod Touch, which is really interesting. I'm really interested in the mobile technology, and how, as we see more and more students coming in with their own iPod Touches, their own cell phones, and how we can use those instructionally as well. And then some software that went along with those devices.
Now, were there any strings attached for the teachers to be able to keep that equipment?
Sure. They needed to participate in the sessions after the summer session. They needed to participate in the online and the face-to-face sessions. And we've also then, had sort of assignments online that they would complete that sort of help prepare for those sessions and so forth.
So I know you're going to be wrapping it up in May. with the program. What are you going to do as kind of like an encore or to wrap this all up with the teachers? What celebration are you going to do?
Yeah, in April we're going to do a sort of a celebration of achievements, and we have a video contest that we're running, and it's an idea. The idea behind it is to sort of share the journey that they've gone through, but from the perspective of their students. How has this transformed the learning environment for them in the classroom, and to document that using the flip cams and using the software to make the videos and capture what they're doing online, and hopefully give us a little synopsis of what it's been like for them in that journey, and then we'll show those videos and celebrate that.
Anything surprise you with this whole year journey in this program?
I just think that the connection that we've been making as a group of educators has been really probably the more surprising part. I really like the communication that happens when we have the face-to-face sessions, what people are sharing and what they're sharing online, the links that get shared through Twitter and so forth. It's just, I'm learning things. I think that that's the neat thing as somebody who's been trying to do some of the trainings and facilitating, is that I get to learn so much as well.
It's time for us to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation on the TTDN Technology Training for Teachers when Jill Parrott from Portier Northern High School, one of the participating teachers, is going to join us and tell us how this has impacted her teaching. So don't you go away.
I present to you Algebra 2, Foreign Languages, and finally, Biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Me.
Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college.
Thanks. You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire?
Sorry. Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. On this program, we're talking about the training program called TTDN that was started last June, and now joining Kit Hart, who is one of the organizers and planners for the program. Now joining us is Jill Parrott from Portier Northern High School, who's one of the participants in the program. Jill, welcome to Dateline Schools.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, so why did you decide to get involved with the TTDN teacher training program?
Well, you know, I'm always looking for ways to update my skills and keep my teaching fresh and relevant to the kids. And so when I saw the flyer, I thought, you know, I really haven't had any technology training for the classroom, and any technology I use is just what I encounter on a daily basis in the classroom, and I really was interested in just freshening up my classroom approach.
So for the last 9 months or so you've been involved, how has it helped you to grow as a teacher?
Well, mostly I think that it's just made me aware of some of the really cool tools to use in the classroom, things like Edmodo, which is a classroom, really a digital classroom environment where you can post assignments and speak to students, you know, anytime, and where they can go and find your video tutorials and things like that. So just aware of some of those cool tools, and also a reaffirmation of something that I've been suspecting for a while. You know, I teach literacy. I'm an English teacher, and I feel that the students need a lot more skills to be literate in our society than we did when we were younger. You know, we were instructed in the Dewey Decimal System, and we went to visit the library, and the librarian could show us around, and there was a nonfiction section and a fiction section, and it was very clear what the difference was. But these kids are in the World Wide Web, and they have no guide, and they Google an article that they need for a research project, and they have no skills to know whether the author is credible or whether the site is biased. or, you know, while they're reading, they get hooked on a link and they end up in a rabbit hole of information that they don't know how to read their way out of. And really, my job as an English teacher is to teach them those skills. If these are the skills they need to be literate, then it's my job to learn how to teach them those skills. And so that's why I really felt that this was a valuable program.
Have you had a chance to share any of the technologies that you've learned with your peers up at Port Huron Northern?
I've been doing most of the sharing of technology that I've been using with my students. So we received an iTouch, and we have been sharing iBooks with each other during reading. We have a free reading time, and so the students have been using their iBooks, and we have also been using podcasts and some basic uses of some of the technology that we were provided through the program. But I have found a big obstacle to using and sharing the technology with my colleagues is that I haven't had the technology to use at school on a daily basis. So it's always had to be an aside, something that I planned for. So one of the things that I did was I used all of the information that we learned during the program, a lot of the vocabulary, a lot of the new ideas, and I wrote a grant. I applied for a grant from RISA. They had a mini technology grant available, and I won the grant. So I'm really looking forward to having each individual laptops for each of my students next year, where they will have a daily use of the laptops, and we will have a projector and an Elmo, and so we can actually integrate the technology into the classroom every day. And I think that when I'm using it all of the time, on a daily basis, I will have a lot more to share with my colleagues.
And I imagine there's word already around the building that you've got this grant, so they're going to be watching you whether you know it or not anyway, right?
Right, and I think one of my goals, maybe not the first year, because I think there's going to be a sharp learning curve in the first year. One of my goals will be to establish a Moodle site for permanent storage of some of the techniques that I've been using with technology, so that my colleagues can go back to that site and see some of the things and maybe then share their own ideas as well.
Yeah,
So.
You've been teaching a number of years, you know, before you started introducing a lot of this technology. How are the students responding from your experience, and especially compared to those when you were first started teaching to where you are today?
You know, I think, you know, I'm a 20th century teacher. I was trained with textbooks, and when I went to Eastern Michigan University my first year of college, they actually had a course called How to Use the Overhead Projector. So that dates me. That dates me, and you could take a course on that. So, so I think, you know, I have always used whatever technology has been provided for me. So years ago, we did claymation Tempest, and we used PowerPoint to create videos. So whatever technology has been at my fingertips, I have used. So I think they're kind of used to that. But what I think will be so neat about the grant is I will have so much available that it will really push my classroom out of the 20th century and into the 21st, where technology is not just a side project or an end project. It's actually a tool for learning. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
And I imagine once the word gets out with the kids too, that kind of makes Ms. Parrott the cool teacher of the building, right?
You'll have to ask them.
But I can only imagine, kid, I know you use a lot of technology at the ATA. That really helps grab the kids, doesn't it? And to get them to want to learn because they're using the tools that they use outside of the classroom.
Sure. I mean, it can be a very engaging atmosphere when you pull out the computers or when you're projecting something on the screen. At the same time, I mean, you have to have good instruction behind that. And I think that all of the things that Jill has been doing previously to engage her students probably will translate really well into having more access to technology, in part because it just then allows the students to access that information on a more individual basis. That's one of the powerful tools, is that you can capture a lecture, and students can listen to that lecture again if they need to, and they can listen to it again at home, and the parents can listen to it again at home, and those kinds of things are really it's still the same lecture, it's still a good lecture, but now it's more accessible, and I think that that's one of the neat things when you get more technology in the classroom, is that you don't necessarily have to change what you're teaching, you just kind of allow the technology to facilitate it in a new way.
Sure. And Jill, I think you kind of said it best, it's really a tool that you're using. You're not changing the message so much, you're just maybe how you're delivering it to the students, because they listen and learn differently than you and I and Kit learned when we were back in school.
I think that's true. They have learned different modes of learning, but they're still curious in the way that we were curious. You know, if something is new, they want to get their hands on it. And so I'm glad that I'll have the opportunity to let them use the tools that they know everyone else in the world is using every day.
Now, how did the TTDN training that you've received this school year, how did that help you with the grant and applying for the grant, even considering to apply for the grant?
You know, it was funny because when I first started, when we had our first, I was at a 2-day training or a 3-day training. It felt like I was suddenly drinking technology, you know, the old metaphor of drinking the Kool-Aid. Drinking, yes, that and too, drinking water through a fire hose. You know, like all of a sudden I just had all this technology, you know, that I wasn't really even aware of, being exposed to it all of a sudden, and it felt really daunting. And then I thought, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this as a vocabulary lesson. I can't possibly learn everything, but I will make myself aware of all these things. And then as we got into it and we started using piece by piece, I was able to be not just aware of it, but to really see how I could use it in my classroom to improve student learning. And in the end, there's really no way I could have applied for or won that grant without the information from this program. I really couldn't have done it because I needed to understand what was available. I needed to be able to see how I could use it for my subject matter in my classroom to make my students' learning opportunities better. And so it's been invaluable. It's been a wonderful program.
Great. And Kit, I imagine those kind of success stories have to make you real happy that this was a real successful training program for teachers. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, I think when you hear that someone who is coming into this and really, it is very overwhelming when you first learn about some of these technologies and all the different things and options that are out there, and to see that it inspired that progression to want to apply for grants and to bring that into the classroom, and so really excited that Jill was able to see that for herself in that way and want to do that. So that's
great. Well, Jill, thank you for coming in and sharing your story, and Kit, thank you for telling us all about TTDN.
You bet.
Thank you for having me.
And we want to thank you for joining us on this edition of Dateline Schools. Hope to see you again soon.